Welcome back in. It's the Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio on your Sunday morning. There was a lot of upsets in the first round of the NCAA tournament. One of them was number 13 seed Marshall defeating Wichita State. That was a 4 seed by a final of 81-75. Now Marshall looks for another upset later on this evening at 9:40 p.m. going up against West Virginia as the Marshall team looks to advance to the Sweet 16. So let's head out to the West Coast and welcome in the head coach of Marshall, and that, of course, is Dan D'Antoni. Coach, it's Zach Gelb here on CBS Sports Radio. Appreciate a few minutes, and how are you?
No, thank you, Zach. Doing well. Thank you. Just enjoy the moments.
Well, it's one that you could definitely enjoy after the first round upset that you guys had over Wichita State, the program's first NCAA tournament victory. But I was fascinated with what you were wearing, Coach. I did like that sports jacket and also the T-shirt with the Marshall logo.
You know, I've been doing that ever since. I started the Beach Ball Classic a long time, and I was a high school coach. And used to wear the logo under my jacket in high school. So fits me, kind of that kind of person anyway. And so it's just comfortable. I just wear it.
Well, we always know Bob Huggins, your opponent, is sharply dressed. So what do you got in store for him?
Hey, if I can beat him in anything, I still think I got him on style on that one.
We're talking to Dan D'Antoni right now on the Zach Gelb Show, CBS Sports Radio. Before we get to West Virginia, let's recap Wichita State. You've been with this program forever. You played there, you were an assistant, and now you're the head coach. What did that win mean over Wichita State?
Well, Greg Marshall and Donnie Jones, he coached, both of them coached Marshall. But I go further back with Greg Marshall when he was in South Carolina. He was an outstanding coach. And, you know, you always kind of measure yourself up. You measure your programs as to people who have been successful and done a super job. And it just meant that we got in the same arena. Winning and losing, that kind of goes one time you can, maybe the next time we played we wouldn't. But, we were able to get in a big-time game and play there and fortunate enough to win. So you keep measuring yourself. You keep trying to get the team better. And certainly Wichita State's a really strong program that has done well in the tournament. We were able to be successful one time against them.
You take a look at the game-changing plays and these epic upsets. You guys were down a point with about 4 minutes to play. You get the steal, it leads to a layup, and then West comes down the other end and also hits a three. That swings it to 74-70 in your advantage. Take me back to that sequence and how you guys got some success.
Well, we had led early, and then we had seemed like just a couple of bad breaks, 2 or 3 breaks, and kind of changed the momentum of the game a little bit. Ended up falling behind. Came out second half, and we worked sharp 4 or 5 plays, and they got up about 7. Then we started getting our rhythm back. I thought we played pretty well, and then, coaches are made by players, and we had a couple of players go out there and make 2 or 3 outstanding plays. I think, Jared West kind of family tradition there. His dad hit the winning shot to put West Virginia in the Sweet 16 on a 3, about a similar spot that he hit that 3 tonight. So, you just ride players, and players are out there doing a great job playing hard for Marshall, and we were fortunate enough to get the right shots at the right time.
I take a look at some of these first-round upsets. Last night, 16 beats a 1. You got to see what Buffalo did to Arizona. You see a level of confidence from these underdogs, and they don't think of themselves as underdogs. They go into the game thinking they're going to win. Your team has that confidence as well. As a coach, can you teach confidence, or is that just on the players?
Well, a little bit of both, maybe. But, no, I do think coaches, if you do have an influence a little bit, your style of coaching and how you handle young kids, that could be a part that you could help and to players to go out and to give top performances. So it is a part of coaching. I do think that basketball kind of that is played with a spread floor, 3-point shot being a tremendous a weapon that allows teams that maybe not quite as big or as athletic, gives them a chance to win games. And if you coach in the direction of spreading the floor and moving the basketball, because the ball can move faster than athletes anyway. So if you're moving the basketball and you're using all of the floor, I think it does give a chance for maybe teams that aren't as big or physical to win ball games.
My favorite part of this tournament is when you see a program grow, and your program has done that, now having their first ever NCAA tournament victory. You're in your fourth year. You know what the journey has been for this program at Marshall. Just take us through your philosophy on how you turned around this program and got it to being one win away from a Sweet 16.
Well, I probably took a little different approach than a lot of people. I think there's a certain way that you need to win college basketball. Should be played a certain way. One, I think your team ought to represent the area and the population of the state that you that support you. And so I went out and I decided, a lot of people go, and I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong on this, but I decided to go with 4-year kids. And I wanted to make sure those were I had searched West Virginia as hard as I could to find players and make sure that I put them on our team if I felt like we had an opportunity to get to a certain level with them. So went out with them. I went out and kind of took the team. I think we had 1 year and a half experience on my first team, NCAA level, out of 14, 15 players. And so naturally we took a little trouble. I might not suggest this for a young coach, but my resume's kind of written before I got here anyway. So I took the leap. We got drubbed about 15 straight, and then all of a sudden started catching fire, and we won our last 7 home games. Came into the next year, basically everybody's gaining a little bit of experience. I think we had like 6 years now of people who were actually on the floor playing with experience. I did add one 5th-year guy, James Kelly, and we ended up winning 17 games. And I came in third in the conference. They picked us 11th. We came in third. Got beaten in the semis. Came back the next year, and we started. Our guys now are going from freshmen to sophomores, and now we're into the junior, or really just sophomore years, because most of them had to sit out. John Elmore had to sit out when he came to me. Stevie Browning sat out. So as they transferred in, 2 West Virginia kids who have been the main part of everything, we started getting them up sophomore level, and then this year they're juniors. We play 3 juniors, 2 freshmen, and have a junior coming in off the bench most of the time and another freshman. So we're starting to get the pantry full. We came in 4th, had some bad breaks. So people got sick and hurt during the season, but ended up winning the tournament. And here we are, and we got everybody coming back. 2 kids sitting out this year, that 16, our 2 biggest kids, 2 16 kids sitting out this year. And I think next year we'll be fully loaded where we have a chance to hopefully, and you never know, but hopefully keep this program on a national level.
Before we started this conversation, as we're talking to Dan D'Antoni, I went on to the preseason rankings, and they picked you 7th in the preseason poll. When was the time this season with this team that you knew maybe this team had something special in them?
Well, I knew all along. The reason we were ranked that way, we lost 80% of our offense and rebounding in 3 kids. We graduated Austin Loop, who started as a walk-on, and he became the leading scorer, 5th leading scorer, Conference USA. I know for Marshall, he was the leading 3-point scorer in Conference at Marshall University. And then Stevie Browning went on. He's playing over in Europe. Another transfer came in from a D2 school, West Virginia kid, and we lost him. He's averaging 15, 16, 17 points a game. And then Ryan Taylor, who was the only kind of player from a scholarship player from the former coach. We lost him. He's playing overseas. So when they left, everybody looked at it and said, well, we lost everybody. But I kind of knew that we had been setting people out. Elmore was back, which is our engine. I think he's, was underrated or under the radar a little bit. Shouldn't have been, but he was. I thought he was the MVP of the Conference USA last year. And then we had C.J. Burks, who's another West Virginia kid who had some academic issues that we had taken care of, finally got, and he was going to be able to play a full year. I knew he was every bit as good as Stevie or any of those guys that came through, and he would be available for us. And then Pinova had grown, and he had gotten better and better. He gained 20 pounds. So I had three quality players that were now coming in with some recruits that Jansen Williams, I redshirted, was going to start playing. And we got a Jared West, who was Player of the Year in West Virginia, and Darius George, who had played on their AAU team. And he was Virginia's 2A Player of the Year in Virginia. So I felt good that we were going to have a real chance. Again, we had some injuries and people got sick at the wrong time, but I just felt like we were going to be or could compete with anybody in Conference USA.
Wrapping up with Dan D'Antoni right now on CBS Sports Radio, the head coach at Marshall, which gets ready to play West Virginia at 9:40 here on the East Coast. When you look at West Virginia, other than the way that Bob Huggins dresses, what stands out to you about them?
Well, he's a great coach, and they have a great team. So, I told somebody, if you look at the two teams, when we tip off, it'll look like that old ad for Muscle Beach, and the guy kicks sand on. We were the ones getting the sand kicked on. But, it is. I think our kids will go in there, and they're going to give us a lot of grit. I'm going to be proud of them, regardless of what happens, and I'm sure Bob will be proud of his kids because they've done a remarkable job. He's a very good coach, good team, and we're going to play. We're a good team, and it's a basketball game, and people let passions flow. It's fun. That's what it should be, and we'll see who wins. And hopefully it'll be us, and we can move on. If not, I wish them well.
When you look at this matchup, Marshall, West Virginia, and a lot of it's been from your end, there's been a talk about a desire to bring back that matchup at least once a season. Do you feel a little bit disrespect when you hear what's coming from the other end when West Virginia talks about how this isn't really a rivalry between Marshall and West Virginia?
Well, it may not be. It's probably more so for us. And it stems all the way back for when I played. We kind of broke onto the national scene in 1966, 67. We went to the NIT. And West Virginia has a historic program. My cousin played on Jerry West's team that went all the way to the finals against Imhoff in California. And we wanted, as we became university status, obviously we wanted to step up. We felt like we had moved up. We had played in the NIT, which back then was 16-16. So you're talking about one of the top 32 teams in the country. We felt like we should play. And, of course, this is way before Bob, way for Dr. And for some reason, they would not play us. Then Mike's team came in, nationally ranked, still wouldn't play us. So to us, that was kind of being disrespectful. Now, as the years have passed, of course, I'm now the coach. My passion still comes, hey, how come you're not wanting to play us? And I feel like we've gotten our program now. And even if it wasn't at the level where it is now, I just think that game ought to be played. It's for West Virginians, and West Virginians have a little passion, a little rivalry doesn't hurt you. Auburn, Alabama doesn't hurt you. Clemson, South Carolina doesn't hurt you. And I just felt like, that's a great game for us, and it should be a great game for them because it's a great game for West Virginia.
Before we let you run, and I know you're all dialed up in your team and trying to get this victory to advance to the Sweet 16, but Loyola Chicago had an upset up against Tennessee. They're moving on to the Sweet 16. Earlier this week, you got to see a 16 beat a 1 in the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, which was unbelievable. Yeah. How about this tournament? Because it's really been the year of the upset.
Well, I think, again, the style of play that some people are adapting now gives with athletes who have maybe not getting the top rung or what people see as the top rung of athletes, it gives them a chance. And the Baltimore spread you out, and they shoot threes. We kind of spread you out, shoot threes. If you look at Loyola, they spread you out. It's even the field a bit, and I think it's going to take a while for people to start to realize that, you can John Elmore, who maybe had a few offers, was going to VMI and transferred back because his granddad got sick, and we came into us, that a player like John Elmore can play with the very, very best in a certain style. And he's proven that. And I think teams and programs are going to see that, and might be pretty soon that the edge is gone, and it goes back to where only the top programs, because they're all playing the same way, and that's when, as a coach, you got to figure another way to beat that. So I don't know where it's going to go. Again, the style that we play, we developed, I guess, when Mike and I played, even when we played, because our teams played this style back in the 60s, and it kind of went away. And now it's coming back, and it's reinforced with that three-point line, which gives you a real advantage. I see where they're probably going to move it back a little bit, but, our kids, I don't think we toe that mark now. We're back where it is already. So it'll affect the game some, but I still think the wide-open game and being able to drive is fan-friendly. We've gone from 2,500 fans to about 7 every game, and it's just fun. It lets the athletes win the game, and you don't have to look at an old guy like me coaching that hard.
Well, Coach, we'll enjoy watching you coach later up against West Virginia. We appreciate the time. Best of luck.
It should be good. Go Herd.